Good morning and welcome back to the PT Revenue Recovery Resource Show. My name is Brianna Hall and I am the Director of Development at Medical Billing Center. And I am here today with Jim Stoker, PT, DPT, and CEO of Medical Billing Center. And today on this episode, we are going to be talking about preparing for payer contract negotiation. I know that this is a hot topic. All of the clinicians that I speak to and practice owners that I speak to want to know how can they negotiate their payer contracts? How can they get paid more per visit, per unit by commercial payers, as well as Medicare? Jim, so looking forward to your thoughts on this topic.
Well, it's hard to know where to start. It's a challenging topic, and that is evidenced by the fact that there are weekend classes, courses, home study courses with PPS that are all encompassing about contract negotiation. So it is a much larger conversation than the few minutes that we have here, but I'm going to try to hit the highlights for you. Number one, I think you need to start with, yes, it can be done. We represent and work with a lot of small practices. We have multi-site clinics. We have many single practitioners, single locations, and I talk with them about what I could do. They're like, well, nobody's going to listen to me. I can't negotiate. I'm one person. Yes, you can. We've had quite a few of our clients that have been successful negotiating their rates and other utilization management aspects of what they do with certain payers. So number one, it can be done. Number two, you have to know your numbers. If you've watched any of our other pieces, we talk about knowing your numbers, knowing your financials, knowing your revenue per visit, knowing your cost per visit, but even more so than that, knowing your, for example, length of stay. All right. And how do you manage your length of stay? I can guarantee you, insurance company that you're talking to and want to negotiate with, they know your numbers. They know your footprint. They already know, on average, how many visits do your patients stay before they're discharged. And so if you're going to, I'm sorry?
Do they finish their plan of care?
Correct. They already know how long they're going to stay. So if you want to negotiate, for example, not only just your fee, but if you want to negotiate utilization and authorization, you know what? My patients stay on average 11 to 12 visits. It is an administrative burden. It is a delay in care for your beneficiaries for me to have to get authorization every 3 to 4 visits. Give me authorization for 12. That's on average everybody says. Well, if your arrival rate is 88 to 85%, you're losing visits off a plan of care. Therefore, your length of stay is less than it should be, which is not in the best interest of the patient, to be honest. But now they already know your length of stay is 8 or 9. They're like, well, your length of stay is 8, so at most we're going to give you authorization of 8. So you need to maximize your numbers, to know your numbers, so you can present the best footprint possible to negotiate either rates and or the alleviation of administrative burden that will help your practice be more successful.
One of the things that I see is that practice owners or clinicians or anybody being paid by insurance, they kind of jump to contract negotiation before they have perhaps maybe solved some of the other problems that could also increase revenue in their practice. So in your opinion, do you think that contract negotiation is one of the last steps that should be, an approach that should be taken? What comes before contract negotiation?
Yeah, great question. It's all part of your strategy. Number one, you need to have a plan. You need to have a strategy for either, depending on who you read and what philosophy you follow, either 3 months at a time, 6 months, 12 months, a year, usually everybody defaults to. What's my strategic plan for the year? But the way I look at it, you have two paths for your strategic plan in your largest buckets. Number one is controlling a plan for the business that's already in your door. All right, that's internal. What can we internally do and control? And that consists of referral to eval conversion. Are we converting a high percentage of the referrals we receive to evals? Are they showing up? Are they staying? Are they here for their full plan of care? That's arrival rate. That's going to tell you exactly what that is. Again, we've talked before, arrival rate, our best performing practices are 92 to 95% arrival rate, and that is across all demographics. It's across all payers. It is urban. It is rural areas. It's people with neurological diagnosis that rely on somebody else to drive. So controlling all of those things inside your practice already. You can also have a parallel strategic priority that is focusing on external opportunities. The external opportunities could be your local marketing, could be marketing directly to physicians, directly to the consumer. There's a lot of resources. Everyone knows I'm a member of the private practice section. I'm a big proponent of APTA, but there's a lot of resources out there to help you negotiate directly with the consumer. That consumer could be an individual, could be a business. So that's portion of your external plan, but also an arm of or a priority of your external plan could be negotiating with the payers. Now, the other step, the next step when you're approaching your plan. Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask the question? Okay. So when we are laying out the strategic plan and we're clinician prioritizing our arrival rate, and this maybe I'm confusing this, but should they also then prioritize collections at the front desk, experience explanation at the front desk, right? These things in my view are coming before they're getting into contract negotiation, right? They are maximizing every opportunity to increase revenue, from the front door to the patient completing the plan of care and all of those things layered together and then adding on contract negotiation.
Correct. You're exactly right. So yes, part of managing your internal opportunity or the business that's already in your door includes what I said, referral to eval conversion, getting people to show up for all your plan of care or arrival rate. And that goes right to financial expectations. We've talked before about one of the most important things you can do to maximize patient satisfaction is to explain the financial expectations to the patient when they arrive before their first visit with the PT, and then help them navigate that. So you're exactly right, collections, but believe it or not, having that collection discussion impacts arrival rate.
Mm-hmm.
It impacts 100%. The patient's overall feeling of value that they receive from your practice. So yes, having all of that internal strategies and managing that is something that you need to have that supports your ability to go have a contract negotiation with an insurance group.
I think that one of the things I want practice owners and clinicians and listeners to get out of this podcast are actionable, strategic things that they can take into their business, right? Monday morning or, the next business day after listening to this episode and, go out and do these things because we both want, those clinicians to get paid what they deserve. We know that they're, potentially not.
Right. So the action items for preparing for a contract negotiation, number one is know your cost. Most people are going to know their cost per visit. If you don't, you can get your 12-month financial total expenditures divided by visits. There's your cost per visit. You want to know which payer is most important to you. Where do you have the opportunity for a return on investment? Your time is valuable. So you need to know your payer mix. You need to know generally what you're receiving per payers, and then prioritize which payer is going to make the difference. Don't assume, don't guess. We know Medicare is what it is. Maybe it's Blue Cross, Blue Shield, what have you. But decide which payer is going to be worth the time and effort. Mm-hmm. Then, number 3 is, what's your ask? What do you need to know? If you're going into negotiation, you need to know what your ask is. You don't want to ask for more. You want to know X amount more. I know my cost per visit is X. I get on average Y from this payer, and my goal is 15, 18, 20% net operating income. And if that's the case, then I need Z from this insurance company. Know your ask. Know what I'm asking for. Then you also need to prepare for what's your walk away. If they're not willing to do that or move anywhere, meet you in the middle. Obviously, in negotiation, the definition of negotiation when nobody's happy. Mm-hmm. That's the compromise. So when you enter a negotiation, you understand you're going to ask for something. You're going to end up somewhere in the middle. Everybody's going to compromise, and again, that's when technically nobody's happy, but maybe you're okay with you get something. So prepare for that give and take in that preparation.
What are some resources or ways that clinicians can get another person or another business in their corner to support the negotiation?
So one of the resources, I think, now remember, you can negotiate a lot of things other than fee. Most common, and something you obviously want to talk about, but utilization management is a tremendous impact on every practice. I've been very fortunate to be involved with a group of the private practice section and on a committee for SPARC. So the State Payment Advocacy and Resource Consortium. I think I have mentioned this before. The website is www.spark.apta. If you're a member of APTA, you can log in and see a tremendous number of resources that are available on the SPARC page. They talk about Medicaid rates in certain areas, administrative management, utilization management, credentialing, authorization. There's a tremendous number of resources there. There are letters. There's draft letters already there. So when you ask about resources, mm-hmm. I first go to, guys, without question, APTA and the sections within APTA, particularly the private practice section, have a wealth of resources available for all of us.
Yes, we will link the SPARC website in the show notes for this episode, so they're easily found. That is one thing, you do hear people grumbling about, certain things in the industry. Some of the grumbles are, maybe APTA not doing enough for the individual clinicians. But, I know you have an argument for that. I would love to hear kind of your perspective, especially being a veteran clinician.
Right. Well, that's a great question. And I do hear that. And when I hear that, I don't get really fired up very often. It takes a lot. But that does fire me up a little bit. I think if you have this is my opinion, but if you have the opinion APTA is not doing X or not doing Y, then my response is look in the mirror. What have you done? Because APTA and PPS are membership associations for members. They are member driven. So we are only as strong as our members. So if you want APTA and PPS to do more, get involved. You have to look in the mirror and you say, all right, what have I done to contribute? And I think they've done a tremendous amount over the years. I've been around long enough. I remember when the Balanced Budget Act was first passed back in the late 90s under Bill Clinton, and when the first therapy cap was in place. And it was a hard cap when it first came out. And I've said this for years that if people believe it's a saying that that'll take an act of Congress, meaning that will take forever or it maybe never happens. Well, APTA led the effort to fight this initial therapy cap. And within approximately a year, it's been 30 years or more now, but in approximately a year or less, the cap was removed. There was more of a limit, and it has evolved since then. But some people actually believe there's still a cap. There's not. There are measures in place to justify and provide that information, but APTA led that. They did lead an act of Congress, and it did happen. So I'm a big believer in our associations, and again, it's only as strong as the people that are willing to volunteer and serve.
I've been to several APTA events, and I have never heard anybody that I've met that is involved with it, saying anything, any grumblings. Everybody that's involved with it is
Right.
really positive and excited about what's happening.
Right. Very true. Very true. And there are so many opportunities. APTA and PPS are so welcoming of new people. If you haven't been involved before, there are a tremendous number of opportunities, and you're always meeting someone new. It is a family of practitioners that are working towards a common goal. And if you haven't been involved, I just strongly encourage you, please do so. Reach out to somebody, reach out to me, and ask me about where are opportunities, either APTA or PPS. I'd be happy to put you in touch with people. There are plenty of opportunities. It is rewarding. It's rewarding for your practice. It's rewarding professionally and personally. You will learn a tremendous amount.
Yes, absolutely. All right, that's awesome. So we are going to recap what were the steps? Was there 5 for the
Well,
contract?
let's see. We can recap. So number one is you want to know your numbers. You want to know your financials.
Mhm.
Number two is know is target which insurance is going to be your greatest ROI. And then really number three is know your ask.
Okay.
So I'm going to stick with it. There's a lot more to it in the
Yeah.
whole weekend courses, but if we want to stick with the 3 basic, know what your numbers are,
Mhm.
prioritize which insurance is going to make a difference instead of just a shotgun approach. And then know your ask and understand what I need to ask for that will make an impact. And then understand that you're going to probably land somewhere in the middle.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would even expand it out potentially to 5, right? If we were going to go back through the things that we talked about at the top of the episode, the 3 things that you just listed, know your numbers, prioritize which payer, and know your ask. And then I would layer in there, maximize everything in clinic that you can ahead
Right.
of making that ask. And the
That's right.
5th thing being understand where to find the resources.
Correct. Yep. Agree. Yep. There's a lot more to it. And we enjoy having those conversations with our clients and helping our clients strategize. We talked a minute ago about a strategic plan, internal versus external. So it is something that I enjoy doing because I owned and operated a clinic for over 20 years. It's fun, it's energizing, and we enjoy interacting with our clients about that part because it's all about practice success. Billing and collections is what we do. We collect money, but we enjoy the different aspects of fine-tuning a practice to maximize your practice value.
Absolutely. All right. And a minute to brag on NBC. I feel like we have been, really in a phase this year where we have been able to grow, been able to showcase some of the 25 years of experience that we have. And I was really excited going over all of our numbers yesterday in our big operational meeting with all of our leadership team. We have several clinics that have such clean ARs that they have 0% in their over 90 buckets. That's huge. I feel like we are posting, massive amounts of money for clinics all over the country, but we're doing it in a way where we're able to showcase really well, like great customer service, support, operational support for the clinic owners, really caring deeply about their operational success. So do you want to touch on that for a minute?
As I hear you talk about that summary, the phrase that comes to mind is consistent problem solving, consistent game planning. It is a constant process of assessing the data, and the data is what's coming back from insurance. Insurance is always changing. In our meeting yesterday, we just talked about a development with administrative payer sites. So administrative payer sites are Optum, Echo, Zealous is the one that is really up and coming. And so these large payers are farming out their payment, electronic payment, to Zealous. How do we navigate that? How do we manage that? What's the benefit of, there's a little cost. Do we need to do that versus do we have them send us a paper check? Are they going to send me a virtual credit card? There are so many moving parts. But what we enjoy doing is engaging our clients with that consistent problem solving. What's the best way to navigate this ever-changing landscape of payment?
Absolutely. And it is ever changing. One of the reasons why if you are listening to this podcast, you need a billing and collections partner like NBC to come alongside you and support you and be your cheerleader. We would love to meet you and talk with you. If you are not already a client of NBC, feel free to visit our website, www.nbc.com. And book a discovery call with a billing expert. We would love to learn more about your practice. And you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, and even TikTok.
Very good. Always a pleasure. It's always entertaining to meet with new people and new clients. Every practice is different. But there are tremendous similarities across the profession. It's always energizing and engaging to talk with new people. That's the fun part of what we do.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I was listening to a podcast this morning on business on my commute to drop off my little one. And it really resonated with me when it comes to discovery calls for practice owners who are looking, researching, trying to vet and understand what is the best partnership for them to make with a vendor for their practice. One of the things that I was thinking through that I really believe NBC does well is that we want to learn about your practice so that we can make the best recommendation for your practice. We are not, if we are not the right billing partner or vendor for your practice, we are not going to, pursue that relationship. We will want to point you in the right direction because we care deeply about what is best for the practice.
Very true.
All right, Jim, until next time.